Dramatic footage of 17 hostile Russian fighters buzzing a UK warship off the coast of Crimea has been revealed for the first time, with the incident described as the most intense encounter between Russia and NATO forces in 25 years. HMS Duncan, a $1.7 billion Type 45B destroyer, was leading a NATO fleet through the Black Sea when a mix of Russian fighter jets and fighter bombers repeatedly swarmed the vessel at incredible speeds. The Russian fighters flew so close to the destroyer it was feared the ship's high-powered radar could have malfunctioned the jet's computer systems and caused a fatal crash. A mix of Russian jets and fighter bombers buzzed the HMS Duncan. Supplied, in the footage, filmed in May and obtained by UK broadcaster Channel 5, Russian jets screamed past the HMS Duncan, at times less than 200 meters away. Multiple planes bank around the ship. Inside the HMS Duncan's command post, Commodore Mike Utley tries to establish if the Russians are there to attack or intimidate. It is clear the Russian fighters do not want the HMS Duncan to sail any closer to the Crimean coast, near the airbase they took off for minutes earlier, around 50 kilometers away. Commodore Utley said the show of force from Russia was indicative of increased tensions in Crimea. Radar operators tracked the Russian jets after they scrambled from an airbase in Crimea. Supplied, Commodore Utley was concerned the HMS Duncan's radar could immobilize the fighters' computer systems, as they were flying so close to the vessel. Supplied, after the jets departed, he told his sailors they had probably just endured the biggest raid on a NATO vessel in the past 25 years. But Commodore Utley said his destroyer, armed with 45 missiles, was more than a match for the jets. "I think their tactics are naive. What they don't know is how capable the ship is," he said. "When you see that much activity, I think it reinforces the nature of what people expect, and why there is a challenge from Russia." HMS Duncan and the NATO fleet were in waters off Crimea to protect NATO allies during the British, American and French strikes against Syrian chemical weapons facilities earlier this year. Of the May incident, UK Defence Secretary Gavin Williamson said the HMS Duncan had faced down brazen Russian hostility in the Black Sea with jets buzzing overhead. Commodore Mike Utley was confident his destroyer's firepower was too much for the Russian jets. Supplied, a command post computer screen shows two of the Russian fighter jets flying past HMS Duncan. Supplied, on Monday Russia's Coast Guard opened fire on and seized 3 of Ukraine's vessels, wounding 2 crew members, after a tense standoff in the Black Sea near the Crimean Peninsula. Russia blamed Ukraine for provoking the incident, which sharply escalated tensions that have been growing between the two countries since Moscow annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014. Vladimir Putin's military has worked steadily to bolster its zone of control around the peninsula. Earlier in the day, Russia and Ukraine traded accusations over a separate incident involving the same vessels, prompting Moscow to block passage through the narrow Kerch Strait, which separates the peninsula from the Russian mainland. The Ukrainian Navy said 2 of its gunboats were struck and Russian crews boarded and seized them and an accompanying tugboat. With AP Copyright 9 Digital Kai Limited 2018.